Thank you, moderator, for the introduction, and good morning to everyone. As uh, the colleague from the European Commission already pointed out, the European Green Deal is a very important, if not the strategic foundation for a sustainable, climate-friendly, and economically and environmentally resilient European Union. And the Recovery and Resilience Fund is and must be more than just another recovery package, just a rescue package from the devastating impact of the pandemic. It serves as a tool to accelerate the transformation of Europe's society and economy towards climate neutrality by 2050, the very latest. It should not aim at going back to something called pre-pandemic normalcy, but it should go to building back better. The European Green Deal and the Recovery and Resilience Fund are not just one of the many very good ideas of the European Commission, but they definitely are necessary tools and strategies to achieve the objectives of the Paris Climate Agreement. And this certainly is very important for a sustainable future of the European Union. And the good news is that in addition to mitigating climate change, the Green Deal provides huge opportunities to sustainably grow Europe's economy and to create hundreds and thousands of sustainable jobs, sustainable and future-proof jobs. Strategy development and legislation to make this happen obviously is in full swing, and we are very much looking forward to the proposals which the European Commission has announced for this summer for adjusting the Renewable Energies Directive, the Efficiency Directive, the Emissions Trading Scheme, but also for setting up a carbon border adjustment mechanism. We all know that the European climate law, which is more or less negotiated and will be agreed in the next few weeks, I think, the European climate law will enshrine the objective of greenhouse gas neutrality by 2050. And this is very, very important uh, as a tool and instrument for planning and investment security for private and public sector. Another important element, and this was already clearly pointed out in the impact assessment, which the European Commission provided when it presented the climate target plan, which came with the climate law. Uh, if we want to really achieve the greenhouse gas reduction targets of the Paris Agreement, we must agree on a higher European reduction target, and the Commission has proposed to aim at minus 55% by 2030. But we should be aware that this target for greenhouse gas reduction is not just an abstract target. It will have to go, and it must go hand in hand with higher targets, higher ambition for the share of renewable energies in energy consumption, and of course also for higher efficiency increases as laid down in the respective directives. I trust that the upcoming proposals from the European Commission for these pieces of legislation will certainly deal with this need for higher ambition. But there is more good news in this. Because greenhouse gas reduction objectives and enabling policies, if they are really underpinned by ambitious growth strategies for renewables and energy efficiency, are definitely not only able to reduce costs for private households, for industries, and for the society as a whole. They can and they should really trigger, accelerate growth of a sustainable and environmentally friendly economy. Renewable energy, and particularly wind and solar power, in the last couple of years have been the dominant sources of new power capacity for nearly a decade now. And this was the case not only in the frontrunner countries, in some few frontrunner countries, this was the case in most countries over Europe. And they are, meanwhile, by far the cheapest options for new power capacity across Europe and also in other markets of the world. And of course, this has to go hand in hand, and it does, with increased development and use of storage and flexibility capacities. Think of more or less traditional capacities like pumped hydro, but also biogas, green hydrogen coming up, and of course, small and large scale batteries. All this together provides enormous business opportunities, which will help develop a smart and sustainable energy system based on smarter grids, digitalization, and of course, the renewable energy technologies to provide for this are there. This is why, first of all, I really think it's important that the EU very soon not only in discussions but officially commits to this higher greenhouse gas reduction target of minus 55% or maybe even 60% as the European Parliament is asking for. But it's also important that this, as I said, goes hand in hand with policies and strategies to increase the shares of renewables and efficiency as well. And in this context, I think everybody is aware that the existing renewables target of 32% by 2030 will not be enough to achieve the minus 50%, 55% greenhouse gas reduction target, that there needs to be a higher target. The impact assessment of the European Commission alleges that we need something in the order of magnitude of 40%. I think as the renewable energy technologies are there, we should be able to achieve at least 40% renewables in 2030, if not 45%, as asked for by several industry stakeholders. Let me come to some of the remaining barriers we face with all the optimism I tried to show you here. The low costs of renewable energy are not always and not in every country properly mirrored in consumer prices. Often enough, developments based on the relative market design too often prevent rather than support the transformation to renewable energy and a flexible, more customer-oriented energy system. Often enough, or too often, I would say, coal and fossil gas and nuclear are still heavily subsidized, directly or indirectly. Emissions do not have an adequate price, meaning we need a new additional reform to the emissions trading system, probably, or carbon prices in other sectors, because all this prevents to the markets to allow to say the truth in prices, let me put it this way. The cost advantage of renewables in such a market design often enough cannot be handed through to consumers. But still, renewable energy technology is there. I think the Green Deal and the accompanying directives, which are being discussed and will be presented, really present a huge opportunity to move out of the crisis better and stronger than we were before. Renewable energy technology will help to create a sustainable economy with hundreds of thousands of jobs. And I'm quite optimistic that Croatia can certainly have a good share in this. Croatia can definitely benefit from higher shares of renewable energy. And maybe at the end of the day, the existing target of Croatia to achieve, what was it, 36.8% in 2030 may even be overachieved and to the benefit of the country, to the European Union, and of course, make economy and society fit for 21st century. Thank you for this and good discussion.